Hello and welcome back to another video. How you doing? Are you okay? Is your life going great or is it not going great? The longer I'm alive, the more confusing things get. But let's not talk about that today. Let me give you my handles in case you want to hear me sing, in case you want to see my TikToks where I dance. Or what else do I do? Yeah, that's about it. I sing and I dance. But I have Instagram. You may follow me there if you want to follow me there. Go ahead and do that. My TikTok handle. You may follow me there also if you want to, okay? What else do I have? Well, you know my YouTube stuff. You may also follow me there. I'm sure I've got other things, but I'm not gonna put them there because it's too much work. Okay, this subject is like really important to me, like so much, that I'm just comprehensive to even begin this conversation. Where do I begin? Why does falling in love heal you? Falling in love heals you. Why does it do that? So I want to influence you to fall in love with me, to come along in this journey and experience what I'm experiencing about love. I want you to do it too, please. I don't want to be alone doing this. And maybe I'm going to influence you to pick up a book and fall in love with it the way that I have. So let's move on to the headline, shall we? So this book started it all. It's called Chain of Gold, The Last Hours, Book 1, Cassandra Clare's Shadowhunters. The series is called Shadowhunters, which I'm now obsessed with, and I'm like got loads of books to finish on that. And this one is called Chain of Gold, Book 1, and there's 3 books like to this series. And as you can see, there's like a beautiful girl. I used the word beautiful. What? That tells you something about how I feel. Anyways, I was trying to get new vices into my life, and I knew that at one part of my life I loved reading, so then I tried to get back into it just for it to be a vice, like an addiction that I could turn to. And then it did become an addiction again, but it didn't get rid of my other vices, which I was hoping it did, but it didn't. But it created a whole brand new one again. And so I went to the library because I was like, I'm not paying for books. I went to the library and I saw this. And I was looking for this werewolf story. I asked the woman, like, do you have werewolf books? And then she said, I'll go to the teen section. So then I went to the teen section, and right there, this book just sat there. And I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And then I read it, and it was like, but it's not about werewolves. It's about shadow hunters. And I watched it on Netflix before. Anyways, I'm glad I ignored all of that, and I read the book because it's awakened a hunger and a desire for love, and to be loved, and to love. I don't even have words for it, which that's what I'm apprehensive about this video. The book is full of romance, written by a woman that you tend to ignore when you're reading books, as if like the story is real. You don't think of the woman writing it. Sometimes I do. It's full of romance, and let's talk about that, please. Let me just take a moment to think about this falling in love stuff, because like, do you guys feel the same way that I feel, or am I alien? Like, is falling in love like the most euphoric thing in the world? Okay, I know I've not been put in many situations in life, winning the lottery or getting a #1 hit or getting a #1 movie. Like, I've not had euphoric moments like that. So I don't have much to compare to, but I had a tendency to be in love with love from a very young age. Like when I heard about twin flames, and I was like a child and I was learning about soulmates and twin flames, and something sparks in my heart. It's the same thing that happens when I listen to music. The closest I can describe it is as if like my heart falls to the floor with like so much weight, but it's not a negative weight, it's a very euphoric weight, and it's heavy, and my heart pulls downwards as if it's falling to the floor, and it's like really heavy on my heart area here, because you think it's your heart, but really it could just be energy in your chest, and it feels heavy. And what is that? Is that the feeling of desire? Is that the feeling of want? And when I think of love, I have this feeling of want. So I want it, and of course I want it because I enjoy loving people. I enjoy watching them and having them and touching them and crushing on them. I enjoy that, yes, and it brings the same sort of heaviness into my heart. It pulls it downwards somehow. It's always like an anchor, like you've anchored my heart. This thing anchors my heart, and it's warm and heavy. And this feeling in the middle of all this chaos and this craziness, how my brain is so disconnected now from being a human and living in this world. This feeling is like, huh? what is that feeling? And so then it must belong to something. It must mean something that I have this feeling, because what is that feeling? And why do I like it? Or why am I obsessed with it or addicted to it, where I allow it to happen? Because you know, when you burn yourself, you don't allow it to happen unless you're trying to hurt yourself. But with this feeling, it's more enticing than that. It's like a drug. And you know, there's other ways of impregnating people. You don't need to be romantically involved. You know, rape, is a thing. Life didn't need to make this feeling for us to be enticed together. We could have done this in a more brutal, random way, the way that we paint life to be anyway. So the fact that there's pleasure in us coming together like this must mean something about life. And so then I noticed, and I've spoken about this before, that when I am smitten with somebody, or if I have a crush on somebody, my whole world changes. It sparkles. And I see it in everybody. They sparkle. And if they're not sparkling, it's because they're not interested and they're just doing it because they're bored or they think that they have to. But if you're interested in that person and you're in love with that person, and if they love you back, you sparkle, mate. As bright as the human can get, you sparkle. And you smile differently, and you look different, and your character's different, and you upgrade yourself all of a sudden because you're in love. And so then when you fall in love, you sparkle and it sparkles your life. And so then it must mean that it's meant to be that we fall in love. That's what it's designed for, to keep us well and to have pleasure and to celebrate our relationships together. It's meant to be that we fall in love, And what we're doing here is weirdness. Because a lot of our relationships, we don't feel the way that I'm about to get into. No, we don't. And I'm all about these feelings. I think what this book is doing is normalizing the internal process that we have when we fall in love with people. And it romantically expresses it outwards, not like how we do. Because we keep our thoughts and our feelings inward because we're scared of them and we're scared of being hurt. But in these books, they do it on purpose to have a story. So then they allow the feelings to come out into words. And the thoughts come out into words. Everything goes the way that the story goes. But it's full of romance, and it's just shocking how empty my life has been. And maybe it's because I haven't picked up a book for so long, but my life has been so empty of this purity of love, of allowing yourself to admire somebody, like really admire them. Okay, I'm gonna put it into really simple, plain terms. You kind of kiss their ass and you worship them a little bit. No, there must be another way to explain that. You absolutely admire them. I think of the biggest massive crush that you could ever feel, like that is love. Where you absolutely admire them and you fancy them and you absolutely crush on them. And maybe we're not honest because we're so embarrassed of those moments. We're not honest with how that looks like or what that sounds like. And these books are not embarrassed of it. So they allow you to see what that looks like in an innocent way. And so then it sparked up all this innocence in me of like, wow, like love is so beautiful. If you're not embarrassed of it and you allow it to flow and be there and not push it away and not put rules and boundaries. And I guess the problem why we protect ourselves is that we get unrequited love, right? And that hurts. And it hurts because of how strong the experience is. It hurts out. But again, it's because we're not teaching about these skills, these emotional skills, understanding humans, understanding behavior. We're not teaching that. We're teaching math, science, history to children, telling them all day long that they are a disappointment because they're not listening properly. We've got the whole school system wrong. So of course these children are not learning how to understand things. Like if I fall in love, if I fancy you, can I tell that you fancy me back? Because if you don't fancy me back, I'm gonna have to turn my emotions into somebody else before I get hurt. We don't have education about that. And this relationship between love and us is so important and we're not educated about it. How do we control these feelings to the right person, to know who can reciprocate them? We don't. We just give them freely in school age, not knowing how the other person feels because you're too busy studying English and science to know your body or somebody else's body and what their body is telling you, because their body is telling you things 100%. And that's what you should be learning in school, is about the human body and the relationship between things. Honestly, fractions and biology and all of that stuff to memorize, that should be a choice of a career, not for children. Anyway, so this obsession, if put into the right person, of absolutely admiring them, crushing on them, is like the most euphoric thing. For it to be returned is an explosion. We all know that, mate. We all know that. Come on, we've all had that when you realize that the person you're crushing on also likes you back. You have a heart attack. You have an out-of-body experience. Maybe your whole body starts to vibrate and tingle like, oh no, what? Run. Bye. Okay, that would be me, not all women. I would run a mile, thanks. See you later. Which, that was bad behavior. I'm gonna try not to do that anymore. I'm gonna try to stay still. Maybe just my eyes will run away. So, in this love story that we have going on Earth, of us all falling in love with each other, what we're doing is that we're holding up mirrors to each other. And isn't that nice? Like that we're holding up lovely mirrors. Because I've not had a relationship for such a long time in my life, like a romantic one. So I've not had that treatment for such a long time of somebody actually holding up like mirrors of yourself, of how wonderful you are. Of like, you know, my boyfriend used to tell me how beautiful I was, how I'm this, how I'm that. I've not had those kind words for years. That's like so sad. No, it's not sad, it's bad. So then we hold up these mirrors to each other to tell you how much you mean and to tell you how great you are. And that's what happens when you fall in love. You want to tell them how amazing they are. And then they do something and you find yourself telling them, oh wow, that clock really does like want to entice my annoyance. So we tell each other how important we are, how attractive we are, how talented we are, how amazing we are. There you go, there's your mirror, there's your positive mirror when we fall in love. And then when you create hate and enemies, they hold up the opposite mirror. This is what's wrong with you, darling. And maybe all of the mirrors are correct. And where do you want to spend most of your time? What do you want to promote and create more of? Positive mirrors for sure. And then also, let's try not to create negative mirrors, because you know, it takes the lifting up, that's the creation. Let nobody lift up a mirror towards you of negativity, because they're all correct, I'm afraid, in all perspectives. Even if it's not your deliberate intention, it still happens in people's perspectives. Anyway, so let's be open to falling in love, to be open to that pure space of innocence, of allowing yourself to feel things that are potentially dangerous to your heart. And let's not look at that like that anymore. Let's look at it as a vital part of life, that's what you're here for, to fall in love with people, with one person, whatever. To fall in love is a vital part of life. Now, I know I've not gotten into the science of it, right? Of like technicality, like why, Nayna, why is it so important for the body? Because when something is positive, I don't really need the maths for it, like, because that's enough for me. It's positive, it changes my world, it changes life, it changes us when we fall in love. That's enough for me. And that's the science of it, thanks. That's the maths, it changes it into a positive thing. So I'll do it, and I'll promote it, and I'll tidy it up, and study the positive side, and understand how to avoid the negative experience of love. And so the feeling of falling in love is just huge and feels big and euphoric. And so then it must be telling of its origin and where it came from and what we mean and where we belong to. Because if such a feeling is real and inside of me, then that means that it belongs to something of the same or more magnitude. What? So it's telling. So when we fall in love, we're happy, we grow, we expand, we move. So if you're stale and you're like stuck, when you fall in love, you actually start to like move and unwind and relax. It's just a lot of beautiful experiences. And I think it's really healthy for as long as it's healthy, which that would be okay if we had the right education, because then we could make it healthy always. And we don't have the right education right now, but this is how we begin the education, talking about it. How to control ourselves and read people so we can have the right experiences with the right people. But we definitely grow from being with people. Like we become bigger and stronger in ourselves, and we gain more perspective in sharing another brain, because that's what you do when you fall in love. You kind of become one with them. So you share another brain and you get a new perspective. So you grow and you have new experiences, and so you become bigger and you grow. So that's another positive about falling in love. I think that the feeling in itself, that feeling of this like heaviness, that I should really find a more positive way of describing it, but it's positive heaviness. I think that does something to you, mate. And even if it doesn't, why am I so obsessed with it? And I still want it. So is it like a drug? And if it's like a drug, then life made it a drug. And so then, and it's free. I don't even have to ask for it. I just read something and it just comes up. So I think it's healthy. If you find it hard to socialize and you find it hard to get out there, because that's actually just the main point of how you meet people and you make yourself available to fall in love, is that you have to actually go out and talk to people and be available for people and be open to them. And a lot of us don't want to, because we're going through rubbishness, which is understandable. But I think we're all deep down actually like desire to fall in love. So we have to create spaces or opportunities for us to actually get out in the world, or at least work on our thinking, change our thinking that actually relationships are important. And yes, it's going to be hard for me to get out of this cycle of not socializing, but I'm going to try, or I'm thinking of trying, which is a positive change anyway, to even think about it. So just change your thinking and how important it is to have relationships and falling in love. And then we'll be able to get out there in the end and fall in love, because we're meant to fall in love. We're meant to do it, and everybody has it available to them. Every single person has it available to them. I believe that. So let's move on to the quote of the week. I actually have a passage on my phone because I wanted to take one from one of the books that I've been reading, but my mum has my phone right now because she lost her phone and her card. Okay, I finally found something. I've been here for quite a while, not gonna lie. She opened her lips against James's. His were so soft and he tasted of Bailey's sugar and spice. She heard nervous laughter at the door of the room and felt James's hand tighten on her waist. His other hand left her cheek and cupped the back of her neck as he deepened the kiss, as if he couldn't help himself. He leaned into her, his tongue tracing the shape of her mouth, making her shudder. "Oh," she whispered softly against him. She kept her arms around James's neck. If he wanted this over, he would have to end it. He broke off the kiss but didn't let her go. Anyways, I don't know why I had to read that out loud, and it was just really because my phone is not with me. And I just realized that I like to read in my head and not out loud. But anyway, they have a beautiful love story, James and Cordelia. And that was their first ever kiss. But it's all over the book, so if you're interested, go and read a book and fall in love with love. Right, everybody's worth falling in love with. That beautiful love story, everyone's worth it. So if you think you're not worth it, it's not true. If you think you're worth it, it's true. You're worth it. Everybody's worth it. That beautiful love story is worth you. And you can start there to believe that you're worth it, and then life will then bring you such a story to your life. And it's not begging, no, I think it's just the science of life and the beauty and the gift of life that you get to fall in love, and it's yours and it should be yours, and it's not begging. So go ahead and want it, and then life is going to bring it to you, because love is a beautiful exchange and it's lovely and it's nice. So cherish it and celebrate it. Okay, well, it's been nice talking to you. I hope I've convinced you that love is beautiful and that we should be falling in love, and that it will heal us and make us happy and feel better and bring sparkle into our veins, into our blood, and all of that good stuff. So I hope I've convinced you of that. I've definitely convinced myself. I've always known it since I was a little girl. But anyways, until next time, I will see you again. It's nearly Christmas, so I'm about to take a break. So yes, until then, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. Okay, goodbye.